iBooks Author is a free e-publishing book program available from Apple. It's Mac only and can be downloaded from the App Store. The version of iBook Author we're going to be looking at will be version 2. Once you've opened up iBooks Author, you're presented with a panel giving you a choice of templates. At the top, you have the ones that are landscape and portrait, and at the bottom, you just have the portrait only. So depending on what format you want to choose, you can choose any of the formats that match your project. We'll just open up the basic template. Now, even though you've got a basic template, you can amend the template and delete everything in here and start afresh. Don't feel you have to amend what's on here. So how you would delete things, you would click on the panel on the left, and once you've got those things, you can delete each of those components and pages. You can also delete anything in the boxes and get rid of those, or the boxes themselves, and start off with a whole fresh empty page. There will be some elements that will be locked and you will see a little X on them, and that means that just this one shows a divider on the page. Now if you did want to get rid of that, you would have to unlock it. So you would go to the Arrange menu and unlock. Right, we'll just have a quick look at the menu bars and menu bar items. Now up on the top left, we have add new pages, and also you can add chapters, sections, as well as just ordinary pages with column structures or blank. You have the view button, and that can change how it's ordered and how the view is looking inside there. So there's lots of different options you can choose from. You can have the orientation, portrait, landscape. Moving on, you've got a text box, that's for just creating text boxes to type in. Then we have the shapes, and you can add shapes on there for your design work. Next one is adding a table. You can also add charts and graphs. The widgets are very useful because you can put slideshows, videos, keynotes or PowerPoint speak, keynote, slide presentations. You can make interactive images that have call outs on them, scrolling bars of text, popovers, and also you can add widgets that put in HTML5 content that you can hand code to add extra functionality. You can attach an iPod. On the preview, you can add a device such as an iPhone or an iPad and preview the work live as you're working on it. This button, the publish, you publish your final project when you finished. Buttons up on the top right are for the inspector, which will open up, and that'll be content sensitive depending on what you're using. First one is just the basic inspector to do with the overall book itself. Then we have the layout structure, page numbering, image and objects, text formatting. These ones are to do with the shapes that you've put on your page. We have the metrics, measuring widths and size, positions, and you can also rotate on the options for formatting the tables. Options for formatting any charts. This is a link inspector if you have external links within your book. And finally, we have the widget inspector, which depending on which widget you have selected, it will customize the functions. Media is all the items you can call up, audio, photos, movies that can be brought in. So that's just a little library of clips and information that you can add. You've got your colors where you can select colors, and the final one is the font inspector, which opens up and you can select your fonts and customize them. Right, we'll start adding some content. Now on the panel on the left, we're currently just on the pages inside our book. If we want to put a book title and some information on the title page, you'll see in the center it'll have book title, and when you click on there it'll bring up the book title again. It's got the template images which you can replace for your own, and you can replace those for your own. So I'll just drag in an image I want to put on here and just drag it on top. Now you'll see at the bottom of this image it will have mask, and what the mask does, it allows you to blow up the image and sort of keeps it masked. You can also adjust the proportions by going up to one of the corners, holding the shift and dragging it in and dragging it out until you're happy with it. Move it around and we'll just leave it inside the mask area. Now up at the top it's got again a template for a short heading, so I'll put in some information here, and then it's got book title, and again you'd put in your title of your book here. Down at the bottom, make sure if you're using template components that you either amend them or maybe delete them. This bottom box here I don't want, so I'll just delete the information. So what I've done is I've just created a cover and a title using the template components. Now at any point, if you want to reinstate the formatting, if you've deleted it, which we did earlier, you can go down to the button on the left at the bottom of where you've got your page layout, and it has reapply layout to chapter, and when you click on there it will bring back that information. Now you can copy and paste your text in here, or you can write it, and you can then, as we did before, amend the information for what you want it to be. So add the information, add your text, and again, as we did before, you can find an image. So you can find an image and drag it on top of the template image, and as we did before, you can click on it and amend the mask, make it smaller or bigger, or you can click on the components, double click there, I can actually bring it in a little bit smaller than the mask is. I'm holding the shift key and I can move it up and place it in the position. Now it's time to insert a new page, and if you go up to the top left there's a plus button, and this is where you would add either new chapters, you can have sections within your chapters, or you can just have pages. Now I'm going to go for a 2-column, and it will give me a 2-column. Again, it's got all the text in there. You can highlight it and paste in your own and it will format it appropriately, but we'll just leave that as it is. Some of these images have been created using a clipping path alpha channel in Photoshop, and when I bring these in and place them on the layout, because there's a clipping path around them, they will push the text out of the way. Again, other images can be brought in and placed on the page that are not in clipping paths. If I place it on here, I'll close that down. Again, if I scale it from going to the corners, you will see it will push all the text out of the way, which that's really useful. Now I'll go up here to the inspector, and when you click on here, it gives you the inspector, and if I click on the object placement inspector, this is where you can do your wrap customization. So I've got my image here, it's got a number, this is wrapping all the way around my object, or I can have it pushing down on the side or pushing left. This one will push the elements out here. Now I'll go back to this image, and at the bottom it has where it's got the alpha extra space, which you can change. That will push it all the way around, or we can click on here and it does it to the edge. Now if you want some extra space in there, you can take the space up and this will push it away from your object. So as I'm increasing the point space, it's giving me more space around. Watch out for if you have any rogue letters appearing in the wrong place. You don't want to have anything running through. Now by adding those extra images, what it's done, it's pushed my text into a third page, so be aware of that. As you add your information, it'll push all your text along, creating new pages, which is pretty useful, but bear that in mind, that what's happened to your text. You go to the shapes, select the shape you want. Once it's on there, you can move it around, drag it out. As you see, it's wrapping the text as we did with the image, and you can customize that in the inspector. Once I've done that, if I go and switch the inspector on, up at the top it's got the fill. If you wanted to change the color, you do it here. Also it has different options, gradient, you can image fill and bring those in. You can put a stroke and a border around. You can add a shadow to your box, and you can take down the actual opacity of the box as well, and the color. To add a table, you click on the table icon at the top, the inspector pops up for it, and it's moved it here. If I move it into a better location, you can amend it and make it bigger and drag it out. You can increase the amount of rows or decrease them. Insert a chart. If you go up to the charts button, select the type of chart you want. I click on a pie chart. You might find it'll plonk it in a location you don't want it to be, but all you can do is drag it out. And if you notice here, I'll put it over on the page there, the inspector is open for it, and you can actually change it and amend it at any point you want. Change all the legends and all the edges to suit what you're working on. It gives you a little data editor up at the top, a little spreadsheet where you can change the figures in here, and that will change things on the chart. We're going to look at widgets. Widgets up here, little box icon. Now you can do a number of things with the widgets. We'll have a little go at inserting some media, so it's a media file. If we click on there here, it gives us a box, and if we move the box over and put it on the other page, but you can put it any way you want. You can scale it however you want it to be, it's up to you, but I'll just leave it there. Now the inspector has appeared. Now you'll see with the inspector it says full page only. Now when you click full page only, it will shrink it down, and what will happen is when the user clicks on it, it will open it up full screen and play it. If you don't have full screen clicked, it will play it within the window. So it depends on what you want. Do you want your video to pop up and be full screen, or do you want it to just play within the page at the size you set it? So I'll just leave it unchecked and it'll play in that size. Then it has layout. Now the layout is pretty useful because you can change it from however it is. The information on there, you can have information at the top and bottom, so you can just have it like that, or you can have all the information at the bottom and type in whatever you want it to be. You don't have to have captions. You can turn them off, and you can even turn off the background, so you can change all those different components inside there. Now once you've got that, you can just drag in your video file. Now, it's important it's the right format, so usually an MP4, anything that's compatible within HTML5 players are your best bet, but it will scream out to you and say this is not compatible. I have a movie clip here which I'll just drag up and place in that window, and once it's in there it will optimize it depending on how big it is and bring it in. Bear in mind that when you bring in media clips, they will make your document larger in file size, so try and keep any video clips short. Now once your clip's in there, you can click on it and it will play, so you'll know it's all working. There's a number of ways you can embed and stream YouTube videos. Mainly they revolve around creating a widget. You can create widgets through Apple's SDK. Also, there's lots of websites that will generate a widget for you to download. So here's one here, and it's iBooksGenerator.com. And what you need to do is to paste in the YouTube URL. Now on here, then once you've done that, you click generate. It will download to the downloads folder. It'll ask, do you want to install the widget? No, you don't, because that will install it on your Mac, so don't do that. Now all we need to do is to drag the widget and place it inside our iBooks page. I will turn off the caption. You can amend the size and make it bigger or smaller. Set it up in your layout. Right, so we'll preview it on an iPad. Now up at the top you'll see the preview button, and you can press preview, and you need to make sure that you have the iBooks app open on your iPad. Here on the iPad, the iBooks app is open, and up at the top you'll see the book I've been working on. I called it My Life, and it's marked with proof, so when we're looking at it in this case, it's coming up with proof. If I click on it on the iPad, it opens up. It's in portrait mode, so these are the pages we created. If we move down, you'll see down the bottom here, the two movie elements have been pushed to the left side. Now when I turn the iPad around to the landscape mode, you will see it has reconfigured those pages, and as I move on here, it's got my video clips, and they're in basically a page section. So when I press on there, okay, that clip works, which we embedded ourselves. And so does our embedded YouTube. I'll just close that down. Now another useful widget is the gallery. So I'll just click on that and bring it in. Now I need to add some images here to the gallery media. So if I click here, I can bring some images in. Right, I brought 4 images in, so we see them on here, and that'll change inside the gallery. Also you'll see they'll add some buttons to go to next and previous, and also it'll give us a little indication, the dot, which one we're actually on. So any number you can just put on there. You can change the layout as we did before with the video, change the margin, captions, etc. And again, that can be moved, and then holding the shift key, you can scale it to make it larger or smaller. Right, lastly, we'll put some text without using boxes from the template. If I click on the text box, it will give me some text, and it will say text here. Type or paste your text in. I've got too much because I've pasted it in here, so I need to make my box bigger. And just bring it in, and that can be moved around and put in any location you want. Now if I go up to where it's got A for fonts, I can then change my font size and change font type. Now when previewed on the iPad, we've got our first 2 pages here, next pages, then our pages we put the video widgets on, and finally we inserted the blank page at the end. So you can swipe through on our iPad, and that takes us through all the images that we have in our slideshow gallery. And now it's time to publish. Now the publish button at the top will publish it to the App Store to either be given away free or to be sold. Bear in mind, if you are selling a book that's been created in iBooks Author, Apple will take a cut of the sales. If you want to just either distribute it yourself through email or from your website, you can't charge for that. but you can give it away free under those circumstances. So if you want to do that, you need to go to the File menu and you need to go down to Export, and it comes up. Now it gives you a number of options. You can either export it as a PDF or just text. It has different export options. The standard is the whole book, and the sample just gives you a small sample, and you only need to worry about that if you're selling it. So we'll just leave it on the standard. And it's got down for different versions, so it's got it at 1, but if there's more functions you can put it at 2. Then we're going to leave it on iBooks and then click, and I'll leave it with a name there. I'll just put final to differentiate between anything else, and then I'll save it. Now if you notice, the icons are different. The icon for the book that's being exported is slightly different. It's got a book icon on it, whereas the actual working document we've been using in iBook Author, it's got this little shell icon on. Now what you can do is you could upload that to a cloud storage system like Dropbox, and then you can download it on your iPad and it will install it into iBooks, which we'll have a go at doing now. Right, so once I completed my export for my iBook, I uploaded it to a cloud storage, and then I downloaded it on my iPad, and then when I downloaded it, it installed it into iBooks, and here it is on the top of the shelf. And you'll notice now it doesn't have the proof label across the top right. If I click on that, it will open it up. It will open up the book. Now if I go through here, on this page, I can go through, that's my design so far. If I click on the videos, they work okay. I'll just test out the YouTube video, probably take a little time to connect, but basically, you know, that's working as well.